Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage various members who will be part of the Listen to Black Women panel. And starting off first, Keyaira Kelly is a writer, producer, speaker, and poet living and loving in Brooklyn, New York. Keyaira currently serves as staff writer and producer for I1 Digital, but her bylines are scattered across the web. Keyaira unashamedly speaks to women about everything from their breast size to their sex life, while providing the latest hard-hitting news or social justice think piece with a side of water cooler culture gossip. As a self-proclaimed professional talker, Keyaira has interviewed some of Hollywood's most in-demand A-list talents, including Samuel L. Jackson, Viola Davis, and Taraji P. Henson, just to name a few.
For a black woman, yes.
Shamika Sanders. As the deputy director at HelloBeautiful.com, Shamika Sanders has interviewed top celebrities like Oprah, Denzel Washington, Viola Davis, and Angela Bassett. Shamika is a fierce red carpet reporter, having covered the BET Awards, the VMAs, and the NAACP Image Awards. Her work has been featured on The Shade Room, TMZ, The Huffington Post, and Gossip. Shamika's skills aren't limited to work in front of the camera. When she isn't moderating or hosting, she's filming, producing, editing, and writing scripts for other productions. Shamika is a storyteller and writer at heart who continues to advocate for women's rights while maintaining a steady pulse on the entertainment world. The 5'10" Alabama-born supermodel Cynthia Bailey moved to New York City at age 18 to pursue a career as a fashion model, and later she became a recognized face for magazine editorials for Vogue, Glamour, Elle, Essence, and Vanity Fair, as well as major brands like Neiman Marcus, Bergdorf Goodman, Lord & Taylor, Nordstrom, Saks Fifth Avenue, Talbot's, Macy's, and Target. Cynthia is currently one of Bravo's Real Housewives of Atlanta and the CEO of the Bailey Agency School of Fashion and founder of the Be Better Foundation. Cynthia has several other businesses, which include Cynthia Bailey Eyewear, CB Vior, and CB Candles. Two businesses on the way include the Bailey Wine Center and the Bailey Room for Events. Erin Byrd. Erin Dale Byrd is a mother, award-winning community activist, political strategist, and cultural worker in Raleigh, North Carolina. She was raised in a military family with roots in Tennessee and Texas. She is the executive director of Blueprint NC, a collaborative of 58 progressive organizations working for a fairer and more just North Carolina. She's responsible for fundraising, compliance, and driving the organization's vision for collective impact and racial equity. With over 19 years of experience and successful coalition work on campaigns, including increasing the minimum wage, Erin is devoted to capacity building, civic engagement, and community organizing. And of course, having just graced the stage, the very next lady on the panel is our very own Erica Campbell. Erica Campbell has released 2 solo albums as well as 7 albums with her sister as part of the dynamic duo Mary Mary. Campbell has received numerous awards and accolades. Her debut solo album, Help, has won a Grammy from 2015 for Best Gospel Album, as well as 8 Stellar Awards. Campbell is the host of the nationally syndicated radio show Get Up in the Morning with Erica Campbell, that can be heard weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on The Light 103.9. Erica is also the co-host of BET's Sunday Best, celebrating 9 seasons on air. April Parker Jones. Durham native April Parker Jones has gone from the stage at Hillside High School and North Carolina Central University to your television screen. She currently plays Natalie on the Tyler Perry hit show, If Loving You Is Wrong. But that's not the only place you can see April. She has a regular series role on the CW series Supergirl Plus, you can see her on several other shows, including TNT's The Last Ship, Fox's The Resident, ABC's How to Get Away with Murder, Lifetime's Devious Maid, Freeform's The Fosters, and the CW's rebooted teen soap 90210. This busy wife and mother of two is a proud North Carolinian and is happy to show Hollywood exactly how we do it in the South. Maticia Sims. Maticia Sims has spent her entire career in finance and audit. Over the past 18 years, she has held various leadership roles in finance and internal audit at Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina. In her current role as Vice President of Corporate Controller, she is responsible for strategic direction and oversight of a wide variety of financial activities. Maticia is a certified public accountant, a certified internal auditor, and certified in risk management assurance. When she's not working, you'll find Maticia hanging out with her husband and her two boys, working out, reading, or just enjoying some quiet time. Ladies and gentlemen, listen to black women on this panel.
I can feel all the black girl magic in here right now. I feel it over there, over here, and all over here. Can we get a round of applause for yourselves, please? Thank you.
I can feel it too, but I feel like I can feel it a little louder. We're gonna have to take this like a concert, you guys. Okay. Who has the loudest side? I'm gonna come over here for the right side. You guys, we need to represent. I need y'all to be as loud as you can on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. What's up? What's up?
Oh, okay, all right. My side over here. And the count of 3, be as loud as you can for the black girl magic inside of you. 1, 2, 3.
That was a little bit of the middle too, so I'm gonna say they was cheating. So, with all this black girl magic going around, you know, there's a film out right now about superheroes and superpowers. No spoiler alert, the Avengers. But black women, we are superheroes in real life, aren't we?
We sure are. And we would love to know what is y'all's superpower. So I need all of you to take 10 seconds, think of what your superpower is, and we're gonna choose one person from the audience to shout out their superpower. You ready? All of you, think about it right now. 10 seconds, you're on the clock. Let's go.
I'm thinking.
And we need all the panelists thinking about it.
Are you thinking of your superpowers? You got it? Okay.
Okay.
I know Erica's.
Okay, I want to pick one person. Where you at? Where you at? Okay, jean jacket with your hand raised. Jesus! Yes!
Jesus.
Jesus.
Well, she cheated. That was the answer, guys. We can all go home.
Okay.
One more?
Yeah.
Who else has one? Right here, blue shirt. What was that? Multitasker.
Yes.
That is a black woman's superpower.
Yes.
Keyaira, what's yours?
Softness.
Ooh.
Shamika, what's yours?
Well, it got me here. This is actually pregnancy, guys, not the chicken strips from upstairs. But they were good. Okay, panelists. I want to know what your secret powers are.
Okay, starting with Erin. Sorry. Yes. Just one word, y'all, quick.
Intuition.
Okay.
Willpower.
Love. The ability to listen.
I'm here for it
Those
all.
are good ones. Those are good ones. So, Maticia, I'm going to start with you because even though we know we are super as women, we also know that we can be super vulnerable, right? Right? We can be. And we know that our health plays a big role in our ability to take care of ourselves and our families, with diabetes being a huge issue in the African American community. Can you tell us about the health disparity African American women face when it comes to diabetes and how we can lower our risks?
Absolutely. Being a diabetic myself, this is something I care a lot about. And I also know that 12% of African Americans in the world African American women have diabetes. And that may sound like a very low number, but if you think about it, that means 1 in 12 women that are sitting here today either has diabetes or don't even know they have diabetes. So the ways that we can lower our risk as it relates to diabetes is eating a well-balanced diet, exercising, making sure you go to the doctor, because oftentimes there's things that's happening in our bodies that you don't know about, and we try and Google and self-diagnose, but go see your doctor so you can find out what's going on.
Yes, that's excellent.
Girl, stay off the Google. They be thinking it's your last days. Cynthia, I'm gonna throw this one to you because it's really important to you to educate women of a certain age about their health. Can you talk a bit about why that's so important to you? You know, besides you're aging like fine wine out there. So can you give our audience some advice and talk about why it's important to you?
Well, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, as someone that has to get up and go to work every day, my health is super important to me, because if I'm not healthy, if I'm sick, or if I'm not well, I'm not able to be great. Can't go to work. And I have a crazy schedule. I am older. I turned 52 years old in February. Yep, y'all supposed to clap. Supposed to give me some applause for that.
You know, that black don't crack.
Although I don't feel 52 and I don't feel like I look 52, my body is 52. So with that said, health has become a priority for me, to make sure I don't procrastinate with checkups and pay attention to my body. Last year I had a tumor in my back. It was non-cancerous. I had shared it on social media, but I'm so busy traveling and working, like I don't always pay attention, but for some reason God stopped me, and it was on my back. If it had been on the front side of my body, I think I would have noticed it quicker. But I mean, how often do you look at your back? So anyway, for whatever reason, God stopped me and I paid attention to it and I looked at it, and normally I'd be like, oh, okay, I'll get that checked out at some point, but it just kept nagging at me to go to the doctor. So I did, and I got it removed and everything was fine. But the problem was, it wasn't that the tumor was cancerous, it was the way that it was growing inside my back. It was like embedding itself under a muscle, which was causing some complications. So anyway, pay attention to your body.
Pay attention.
Definitely make sure you go get your checkups, and just don't take your health for granted, because, it's too late to start trying to, take preventive steps once you're sick already. At that point, you already have the flu, and then you're, can't work for a week. So I would say prevention and just paying attention to your body and listening to your body.
I love that, because your body gives you so much feedback on how it's feeling on the inside. And speaking of insides, I would love to talk about our spiritual health, because we know that is what keeps us churning, that's what keeps us going as women, is our spiritual health. So Erica, Gospel Powerhouse.
I love God.
Tell us. Yes.
I love it.
Tell us how you keep that spiritual health fine-tuned.
Like I was saying earlier, it's listening. We spend a lot of time in prayer, and prayer is talking. But at some point in time, you have to stop and listen and meditate and take a moment. And whether that's listening to your spirit, listening to your body, listening to your family, listening to what's actually happening in your business. Sometimes we're so busy going, we don't take proper assessment of what's going on in our lives. And then when it all gets overwhelming, if we just would have taken a moment to just listen and pay attention, that small ache or pain in your body, or that small feeling that you have where you just don't feel yourself, something's off. I don't know what it is, but something's off. You have to stop and pay attention to that, comb over your life, so you can make sure that you're really living your best life. Of course, I'm an advocate for prayer, but I never want prayer to go over the things that I actually need to do. Prayer is not a Band-Aid for therapy. Prayer is not a Band-Aid for actually going to the doctor. You have to go to the doctor. Sometimes we need to go to counseling. Sometimes we actually need to cut people off. When you pray and listen and God says, okay, you're at the end, be at the end and cut it off, Just because you're spiritual, it doesn't mean you're crazy and you ignore the normal things that happen in life.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
Jesus. Yes. Okay. April, we are going to come to you. How do we develop a work environment that is conducive to not only the proper treatment of women, but a place where they are given the opportunity to excel and become leaders of their community?
Listen. I think that's the operative word. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. We need to listen more, and when we listen to the desires and the needs of what women want, We need to pay attention to that. So I think listening is key, and for our voices to be heard, and we need to speak up and listen.
Listen to black women.
Yeah, listen
yeah,
to black
listen.
women. Yes, yes. And we know as we navigate our workspaces, having people who look like us and feel like us in our work environments is so important. But it's rare. But when you get somebody, it's great. Shout out to Shamika for being in my work environment. So, Erin, I want to ask you, tell us about a time where a woman used her power and resources to support you on your professional journey.
In fact, well, first, thank you for allowing me to be here with you all, and thank you, sisters, for listening to us and the beautiful panelists. I don't know a moment in my life where a woman hasn't helped me when I needed it, whether that was on the job, to help me by opening doors for me, encouraging me, telling me where I was short and helping me to see that, because sometimes we know folks are doing wrong, but we don't say anything and we watch them flounder. And so they've held me in that way. They supported my children. They've prayed over me. And so there's so many ways in my life that women have encouraged me, and so many women that I stand on their shoulders, some of them in this audience that I saw today. So I want to give grace to all of you and say that I believe that black women are the most powerful women on the planet.
You better say that.
I do. I believe that.
You can
I believe
say that. You can say that
the
one more
most
time.
powerful women on the planet.
Yes.
And let me give just one example, and I'll hand it away. As black people, we spend $1.2 trillion consuming other people's stuff. And so if black women are the majority of household leaders in our community, then that means it is actually us doing a lot of that spending. And if we decided tomorrow that we weren't spending $1 in any company that did harm to our communities, day after tomorrow, those companies would close.
Absolutely.
Trust me on that. We got to be about that. So women have always lifted me up, and I want to be a voice to say to all of you that the rest of the world is waiting on us to get it together in this country, because everybody is suffering as a result of that, and we are the only force that will stop it.
Yeah, girl.
Only force powerful enough to stop it.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I only buy my wigs from black women, okay?
Right?
Cynthia, what challenges do women typically face in your industry?
Challenges that I face in my industry, I would say first, being a woman. Being a woman, first and foremost. It's not easy to be a woman in the entertainment industry. We face a lot of different issues. I mean, everything from sexual harassment to even, honestly, there's also a false sense of sisterhood in this industry as well. Like, everybody that's in this industry is not always for you. They may say they are, but it's like, it's like competitive to the point of, everybody's like every man for himself. And I don't think that really serves us as women to look at it that way. But unfortunately, that is the way that it is. Other issues in this industry for me that has been a challenge for me is, I would say, for me, being a mom, being able to balance my just career overall and trying to have a family, trying to have a quality of life outside of working. I love working, I love being successful, I love being an entrepreneur, but I also love having a life outside of work as well. I'm happy to be in a relationship. I need time to actually cultivate that relationship. That means I got to actually, make time to spend time with this man that's in my life. I have a 19-year-old daughter who's at Howard University.
Ow!
Shout out to Howard. She's finding her way. Her journey has not been seamless. I did not give birth to a perfect child. So I pray for her every day that she's over there doing what she needs to do. All I can tell you, she's still over there, child. She ain't came back to Lake Bailey yet. I ain't seen no grades yet, but they ain't sent her back home yet. So I pray that she's doing what she has to do. Because you know how these kids are. When I call them and say, hey, how's everything going? Good? Everything's good? Well, how was class? Oh, it was fine. All right, you doing, everything good? Everything's fine. I'm like, okay. So that's all I really get. And, you know, on one hand, I just want to pop up on all the time, and I have done that. But at the same time, I have to let her go through her process and figure it out. And it's not easy to do, you know, because I actually am busy doing a lot of other stuff. So although Noelle is my number one priority and my favorite job that I have, I also realize that I have to have a life too. I have to have a life, and you know, I was 19 before, and I figured it out, and I have to just pray and be confident that she'll find her way.
Yes, Lord. Yes, for praying for your children as they go about. So we talked a lot about killing it professionally. But what happens in our homes that guides our professional experience? Because we can be killing it in the workplace, but not eating right, not exercising, and that ultimately, how we treat our temple, ultimately decides how we navigate this world. So, Maticia, I'd love to ask, we know that diabetes is affected by diet and exercise. Can you talk about how those impact our health?
So diet and exercise, first and foremost, is just important. Set diabetes aside. If you want to live your very best life, you need to have a well-balanced diet, as well as you need to exercise on a consistent basis. More specifically for diabetes, diet and exercise does play a huge role. And there's basically two types of diabetes, and I'll just go really quickly. So in a nutshell, you have type 1, which is what I am. And so my pancreas makes absolutely no insulin. And so while diet and exercise is important for me, I can't control my diabetes just by diet and exercise. I will always be insulin dependent. Then you have your type 2 diabetics, and type 2 diabetics, they make insulin, but oftentimes their insulin production slows down. And so with the type 2 diabetics, they can actually control their diabetes with just diet and exercise. So it's extremely important, not just for diabetes, but just for living your very best life.
Thank you so much for that information. Ladies, I have time for one more question. I'm gonna actually pose it to all of you. I'm gonna start down here with April, and we can go all the way through. What woman inspires you and why?
So many women. Every one of the women that are in here inspire me every day for supporting the entertainment industry. More so than anyone else, though, is my 19-year-old daughter. She's such an inspiration to me, even though she's not a full-grown woman. She's a young woman, but she's so fearless, and her fearlessness is what inspires me. I hope to be like her when I grow up.
I would say, of course, so many women. I love women, surrounded by beautiful women, aunts and sisters and cousins and friends. But I would say my mom, mother of 9, raised 13, married my daddy 3 times. And yeah, I know, see? She still loves life. She's not cynical. She's not bitter. She still believes in people. She challenges all of her kids. She wouldn't co-sign for any of us. So she stands her ground, you know, and we realized growing up, and I'm saying we as if my other sisters were here, we realized that her humility was what made her most beautiful. I used to think my mom let people walk over her, and I was like, you need to stand up and say more, and I realized that humility was actually strength. She had the ability to know when to be quiet, you know, and that every battle you can't fight, and some things you just have to keep living to see the result of what it is. And so my mom is my superhero. That's who I want to be like when I grow up.
Yes, Mom.
Shout out to mamas.
I would say, you know, y'all are wrong for just saying one. You know, it's never just one.
Right.
You know, there's so much inspiration everywhere from so many amazing women. First and foremost, I would say my mom. I have to give it up to my mom. But the interesting thing about the inspiration with my mom is growing up, you know, she didn't have that great of a life. She went through a lot of different things that I would never want to go through. So she inspired me to actually not be like her in that way, to be stronger, to take control of my life. So I always said, you know what, when I grow up, you know, I'm gonna do things differently. So I was actually inspired to go a different direction from my mother because of some of the choices that she made. She did the best she could do in her circumstances, and I am super proud of her, but you know, that was her life, and it just pushed me to have a different life so I could have different options. My daughter, Noelle, y'all know Noelle is my everything. I didn't know how much I could do until I had a child. I mean, like literally, I feel like I will do whatever I got to do to make sure that little girl, that college student at this point, is okay. Like when I decided to have her, I decided at that point I have to have a successful life so I can support this human being that I am bringing into the world. And I'm not only responsible for this person as a child, I'm responsible for her. This is a product of me, and I want to make sure that she is doing great things, you know, in the world. And then also, last but not least, I would have to say someone that I look up to is Michelle Obama.
Oh.
I just feel like this woman, unfortunately, I've never met Michelle Obama, but to me, she is just the epitome of just class and grace and smart and beauty. So that's it.
Thank you. And last two ladies.
All right. I would say my mom, because I grew up very, very poor. And the funny thing is, I didn't realize how poor we were until I got older and looked back and said, oh my gosh, everyone didn't live like this. But what I saw in my mom, a single parent, she worked very, very hard every single day. We were always happy, even though we were poor. She created a very loving environment. And so that instilled in me the desire to work hard, to do better. So my mom inspires me on a daily basis.
Awesome. Erin?
So yes, definitely my mother who taught me service, my grandmother, all 300 beautiful black women along my own ancestral line that I envision often to keep me in strength. I want to say women inspire me that know that we cannot as individuals rise above the conditions of our people, and who are on the front line fighting for what is right and just for all of us, who are sacrificing, who are telling the truth, who are trying to protect our children on the streets and in the schools. You taking care of our health, you know, all of those women who are striving to be in service to our entire community, particularly at this very dark time. So many of you out there are inspiring, I'm sure, to all of us because you're giving back and you're in service. And I'll just leave with one quote from Chokwe Lumumba, and he says that and he's passed, so presente, if you don't love the people, you will betray the people. And so sisters who know that in their bones, I admire very much. Thank you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you guys
Thank
so
you so
much. We had a wonderful time. I hope you guys had some great gems and takeaways. You can follow Keyaira and I on Instagram. I'm Shamika_Sanders.
I'm Keyaira Kelly.
And we just
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listening to black women. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you to our
Listen to
family.
black women and these women.
Yes. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,
And I have to get one of these, you guys. I'm gonna go around.
check one. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give a nice round of applause for Cynthia Bailey, Erin Byrd, Erica Campbell, April Parker Jones, Keyaira Kelly, Shamika Sanders, and Maticia Sim, the Listening Black Women panel.